has been your day, Madam and Sadatu? Fodio, are you there?
Yeah.
Has been everyone's day.
Fine, sir.
So who will summarize for us the take home for yesterday? I can see Laplace Metaverse. Is that Madam Laplace? How are you?
I'm fine. Good afternoon again.
Okay.
I'm fine.
Yes, so who will give us a summary of what the take home was yesterday? Anyone in the house? Madam iPhone sitting by the window. You want to give us the summary? Were you here yesterday?
I was online. I was on site.
Okay, say Mama Nia, is that Dr. Mrs. Adewoye?
That's not Mrs. Obi.
Okay, you look like okay. So welcoming everyone to once again even about masterclass on caregiving. So yesterday we saw a huge lot into what caregiving is all about, the art and the science thereof. We say caregiver. What are the critical elements of caregiving? And how have we been doing it? And we ended up by showing us the reality checks for which nobody was okay. We all went home not okay. We went home with several leakages, gaps, and loopholes. So instead of killing demons and devils that is making our monies not to come, we saw the need to identify our gaps, block our loopholes, and fill our vacuum. So that when we do the needful, we will be able to scale. And we mentioned the fact that it is one thing to develop skill, knowing what to do in caregiving, either as a chef, a teacher, an administrator, a prayer warrior, whatever you do in providing service that are of valuable point. It's care. You give care. And that it has no recluse to say, oh, it has to be boss subordinate. In care, you come into friendship and alliance. We said all of that. And that it could be vertical or horizontal. It could be people ahead of you, people around you, and people beneath you that you are offering care. Sadatu, can you hear me now?
No, sir, the voice is so low. I don't know what is from.
And your own is so high here. Can you see?
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Can you
I can
hear
hear
me
you,
better
but
now?
yes, it's coming. It's coming up.
Okay,
a little bit.
maximize your own volume
Yes, it is.
so that you can hear me better and brighter. So we established some certain facts and we saw the place of CBT, the 25 elements of caregiving from this picture, which we all participated in yesterday, the 25 elements of care. We saw the place of commonality, affection, teamwork, and so many other variables that are highly needed in the place of service. Shall I check his Facebook going now? So, and then we introduce the idea of care capital, that the question of care has to be treated as a capital. Just like you need capital for critical investment, where you invest into care. It is whatever you invest into care that care brings out for you. It is whatever you, and the more you can invest into your care capacity, the more it offers you audacity. And when you are audacious, you are bold, you are good at your job, then you can perform service down the line. And the service you perform determines the reward you get from the service that you perform. You people can be looking at this. So today, I have a young man here who will be sharing with you a bit about care. Then I will come in, show you how to actually do the PCCP model. How do you generate consciousness? The attitude that you need, that are scalable. And from there, how do you respond to issues in order to manage the energy of your client well, for which the full meaning is care. C for consciousness. A for what? The attitude. And then R for what?
Response.
The response you deliver in order to secure what? E.
Energy.
The energy of your client. We said the first letter C and the last letter E is for who? Your client.
Client.
Why the middle letter A and
A.
R is for who? You.
Carer.
The carer. The other one is for the caree. Why you also perform service by showing care. And we came out with a triangle, 3 triangles yesterday. And we discovered that the best triangle is for the caree to be where?
To be
Top of the triangle.
top of the triangle.
On top of a triangle, followed by who at the right side of the base?
The carer.
Yeah.
While it is followed at the left side by who?
The care.
Yeah.
Care to be served. So that whichever way it tilts, the caree looks for the what? Carer, and also looks for
For
the
the care.
But in a situation where the carer is down, where the caree is down, and then the carer puts himself up, what do we call that one?
Penalty.
The carer becomes a liability. But where the carer is up, let's just show it for the sake of people who were not here yesterday, either online, offline, or on-site. So there are 3 possibilities: liability, what again?
Penalty.
Penalty.
Penalty, and then what? Productivity.
Asset. Productivity.
Asset. Where is your PowerPoint? Don't find it. Okay, it's there. And I save it here. So let me share this. So how many of us have filled our assessment? The one I posted on online for everybody to impute his or her figures. Because with that, we will be able to do an objective interpretation of who you are and where you are, why you are there. We'll see your gap, your loophole, and your vacuum. The Care Capital is the book. It shows you the identity that is delivering. And then we came to Care Connect. Can you see my slide?
Yes, sir.
Good. So each point in time, the carer is playing roles in 10 critical ways. What's the first way? He must be conscious of the persona of his client, their properties, the possibility around him, the problem he has, the peculiarities of his problem, whoever he is, and then the protocol, in form of daily habits and all that. What are the prospects for recovery if he's sick and all of that? And then the provision he has and he has around, all around, provision, physical, mental, emotional, and all that. And then protection. Is he secure in your hand? And then what are his pains? Why are we looking for all these? So that at the end of the day, he is at the receiving end of the positive side of the tunnel, where you are conscious of his persona. At the end of the day, what will you profile? His energy. What energy, what will you do with his energy? You profile it so that he can understand and be in his right mind, the right sense. Where you are conscious of his property, at the end of the day, where will you tune his energy to? You project it. I hope you can remember. For his possibilities, what do you do to his energy? You package it. For his problem, what do you do to his energy? You pilot it. For his peculiarities, what do you do to his energy? You help him prioritize based on who he is. For his lifestyle protocol, what do? You take him through pragmatic steps so that he will achieve it. So it's like you are getting input from your client in order to manufacture it as raw materials into finished process. And we say in doing this, your attitude is key. Because your attitude will either attract him or distract him from what you have to offer. Your attitude will not only connect you to your client, your attitude will connect you to the universe of service, so that what you have can correspond with what the universe will deliver. And at the end of the day, you are able to respond positively. If your attitude is wrong, your response will be wrong. So your attitude is the seedbed for your response. Because care, by acronym, is what? Consciousness, attitude, response, and energy management. And it is applicable everywhere. Oh, it's a caring staff. Meaning he's conscious, meaning his attitude is good, meaning his responses to situation, whether good, bad, or ugly, is always positive. Meaning is the one who preserves energy. He doesn't entertain losses, and where he sees losses, he blocks it. So care is deeper than love, because you implement your holistic agenda and your holistic being in service. Here brings everything about you to the fore for people to connect with you. So that is when your care becomes a capital. Care is a capital for investment, where you add other resources, virtual resources, intellectual resources, and the processing plant of managing human beings, whether you are cooking for them, you are teaching them, you are guiding them, so that at the end of the day, their energy is better positioned. See, caregivers, any position you find your client part-time, by level of your consciousness, always affect his energy level. Life in general, everything about life is energy, whether in potential form when it's not working, or kinetic when it is active. So your role as a caregiver in education, in health, in business, in engineering, in commerce, is to pull up and out the energy quotient of your client for better appreciation, penetration, for maximum contribution, where you can influence him to overhaul his personal development plan, so that in the final analysis, he has lifestyle and productivity that is ethical, secure, and safe. So the whole gamut of care capital is APC multiplied by PDP in order to achieve LP. APC multiplied by PDP in order to achieve LP. So what is APC? Appreciation, penetration, for contribution. What is PDP? Personal development plan. What is LP? Lifestyle and productivity. So the whole gamut about care capital gives you APC, PDP, LP as a package to manage without the damage with your client. That is when care is rewarding. It showcases an attitude, it showcases. So I'm going to show you how to create that consciousness. Because many are the eyes that look, but few are the eyes that see. Can I say it again? The eyes that look are many. Look. But only few eyes sees. It's possible to look and not see. So I want to show you when you are with a client at any rate, either you are cooking, or you are teaching, or you are coaching, you are selling, whatever. They are all having common undertone, care. The first letter you dispense is letter C, consciousness. How do you generate consciousness? Because you can meet your client, especially if it's on a sick bed or on a sick module. How do you know what his persona is talking about at that moment and all of that? Look at this document. The art and science of manifestation in caregiving. Number one, can you see this slide? It's still the same care, but you must know your lane. It's not showing. You must know your lane and your limit. Just as you help your client to understand his position and to draw him to a better energy. So that at the end of the day, when you plot your care graph, CARE, you achieve results and your client too achieves results. It is first linear, then intercrossal. Just listen very well here. Once you get this, you won't fight with your client. Even when your client is abusing you, you know that, okay, persona now is down. So I need to help him profile and reprogram his energy. Once you understand this arrangement, carer, and carey relationship will ever produce the best outcome because the carer is in charge. Carey can misbehave, and that big time. But when you find the carer say, "Na me, na my fault, na me say make you do drug," sadder to when you are angry. Put you when you are angry with a client and you say, "Na me, I sent you before," or you are a chef cooking for somebody, and you say, "This your soup, oga." It be like say, you say, "No be your fault." Because you don't dey see yourself now. That's why you are complaining of pepper. Why you no talk pepper yesterday? There's something wrong. So now let's go. The art and science of manifestation. There are two kinds of manifestation you must work with as a caregiver. And until you learn to develop consciousness. Hey, I didn't record. Am I recording? Let me check. Until you learn to develop consciousness, you cannot deploy care. Care is what you deploy by conscious development. Conscious of yourself, emotional intelligence, conscious of how to self-regulate, conscious of your environment and what regulates your environment, and the capacity to showcase. Yusuf, can you mute yourself? So, consciousness is critical. And then when you key into yourself, it is then you can connect with the situation on ground in care. Anything you see on ground, and that's why we say you respond and you don't react. Anything you see on ground, the first thing is not to talk. Have you heard where they say people have their heart in their mouth? It means just the way you see it, you are also giving it out. No. You learn to process it by thinking on this thing. Consciousness begins by what? Deliberate thinking over what you see and sight on the outside. In thinking, do you know what you do as a carer? You send information into your mind. You send what? Information into your mind. Those of you asking of yesterday's session, will give you the replay later. Very vital. So as you think what happened, information about observation is sent inside. And then when that happens, there will be what is called a positive collision course between what is observable, what is noticeable, and what is available inside you. I'm showing you how to become valuable to your client. Observation by availability will bring you into a collision course in your mind as you think. Because in the process of thinking, you are mopping and marrying what you see by observation into your mind, so that the information you have in your mind with the observation you just made now will go into a positive collision course to bring out a refined version of solution. Once that happens, then you are conscious. It is then you can develop attitude. Attitude is your power of communication from the inside to the outside that is made visible for possibilities. So consciousness precedes attitude. Through attitude, you are able to carry out responses. In responding, you deliver answers. You deliver solution. Can you see our arrow becomes thicker from attitude to response? But from consciousness to attitude is lean. Are you seeing it? Once that is done and you respond to your client, immediately the consciousness you generate that your client is now fully aware of will convert to a better energy for him or her to say, wow, thank you very much. And before you know it, his countenance is changing. Before you know it, he's turning over a new leaf. So that at the end of the day, there is a point of convergence. So, what are the two types of manifestation you create? The first one is called manufactured manifestation. And that is what I described. You manufacture it. You take the happening on ground to your client, maybe it's into drug or business or anything. You process it inside you. So what does that mean? All carers know today that any behavior you see outside is the raw material.
Well done.
Dr. Lukemi, can you mute yourself? We're hearing your discussion, Danny. Okay, let me mute everybody. Any manifestation you see on the outside, take it as a raw material. So do you quarrel with raw material and say, raw material, why are you bitter? It's a raw material. Any manifestation you see, take it as what? A raw material needed in the production plant to making sure your client behaves well, your client is good. Very vital. It's a raw material. Let me show you what I was showing you again. Now look at what we're saying. So can you see? Attitude delivers what? Response. Once you do that, that process is called manufactured manifestation. Because you took from your client by consciousness, thought over it, which makes observation with information, observation on the outside with information inside you on a positive collision course. And before you know it, it turns out a response, not a reaction. It is a response. That procedure is called manufactured manifestation. So manufactured manifestation has 3 competencies. One, you are deliberate about it. Anytime you see a carer fighting with a caree, the carer needs therapy. He's sick. How can you fight somebody you are cooking for? And you say, you just slapped me. Then I showed him my other side. He didn't know. You need therapy. You are nowhere. Eh? You are a carer in the place of intercession. You say, God is not answering my prayer. Am I God? Is it not for me just to pray? Am I God? I'm not God. You need therapy. You are a carer as a teacher. Eh? You explain in one way. He said, I don't understand. You came down according to you and explained. He said, I don't know. And then you say, what is wrong with your own head? What kind of brain you get? Then you need therapy. You are nowhere. Oh, you are handling a drug addiction case. And before you say, relax. And you explain everything and all that. And the guy still comes back to say, I try. But these things be like, say, na magani then they use. That. You don't start abusing. I say, did I teach you magani? Or I show you therapy? Eh? So, you are deliberate. Deliberate over what? Service. Moving him from that state of consciousness to a state where his energy is boosted. So a carer is a manufacturing plant that takes all that is thrown at it to process it to a final product. Everything you do from that thread of consciousness to attitude to deliver a response is called manufactured manifestation, and you are deliberate. Number 2, you develop results. You take insult and turn it to result. You take emptiness and turn it to fullness. You take non-entity and turn it to personality. You take vices and turn it to value and virtue. And you know, clients that are sensible, careers that are sensible, they will later apologize and say, sir, sincerely, I'm sorry. I didn't know what came upon me. It's better than for you as a carer to say, waiting come upon you, self, waiting dey your own head. It's another ball game entirely. That is manufactured manifestation. And then what's the third stage of manufactured manifestation? You deliver a product. You were given raw materials from your client, process it through great attitude by thinking over it, and then deliver it. Once you deliver it, what happens? the consciousness of your client will translate to a higher energy where he has no option than to what? Surrender. And say, I see. Wow. It is called surrendered manifestation. What are the three qualities of surrendered manifestation? A decision is taken by your client. He takes your decision and deploys service to himself via it. And at the end of the day, he is in distinction. So who does manufactured manifestation? The carer. Who does surrendered manifestation? The caree or the client. Which one comes first? Manufactured manifestation must deliver what? Surrendered manifestation. Where your client says, yes, you are right. Yes, I agree. Do you force him to agree? No. He has seen that. You try, see what you brought out of this situation. You saved him. You delivered him. So you are quick to hear, slow to speak, and what? Slow to run. Very vital. So that is how to do it. I told you yesterday that in care capital portfolio management, you must do all you can to package your client in such a way that no matter what disposition you find him, play your role so critically to be able to raise his energy on a better footing. Look at his persona, develop an attitude of concern, respond by making contact, and then profile his energy. That is care for a persona. You are conscious of his properties. His persona is who he is. His properties is what he has. What do? Commit to those properties. Connect to him by response, and then project his energy. You're looking at possibilities around him. What is your attitude? Show capacity to cluster those possibilities. Respond by classifying them. And what do you do to his energy? You package his energy to manage those various clusters without creating any damage. So give and take, your conscious mantra down the line from persona to the pain of your client, most of the times are negative. They are what? Negative in nature. What do? You turn them to what? Positive energy at the end of the day. Through your what? Attitude and response. Your client starts it. You help him or her to end it well. That is care capital portfolio management. Your client does what? Starts it off in the good, the bad, and ugly order through role playing and portfolio management principle and ideology. What do? You help him to turn it good at the end, because you have been able to do manufactured manifestation that eventually led to what? Surrendered manifestation. Do you have any question here? Anybody in the house? Because you need to understand this, that you are in a production plant And every time you are producing values for your client to embrace and adore. Very vital. Any questions so far? Can I continue? You can unmute yourself and talk if you have anything to say. Do we understand? Paul, do you understand? So we are creators of value. Dr. Akimushire, do you understand? Onize?
Yes, sir.
I
do, sir.
I know you understand because I've spoken your language. Portfolio management is not only in Naira.
Yes.
It's not only about Naira and Kobo and dollar. It's about care competency. Sadatu, do you understand? Onize? And? Okay. Mama, Dr. Mrs. Dorcas Adewoye, what's your question? You are raising your hand, ma. Oh, we cannot hear your voice.
Hello, sir. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, I said, let me just say something. As you were talking to us,
yes,
I was picturing the supposed client.
Okay. Supposed client to be who?
Hello?
Yes, we're hearing you now. Who's calling? We can't hear you. You want to write it so that we can see what you mean.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now. Hello? We can no longer hear you. So something must be wrong there with your set. So you can send it to the chat box. We'll read it out. We can't hear you. Who is calling? Shola? Somebody is calling. You know I cannot speak.
Hello?
Yes, we are hearing you now.
Okay, so he was into drugs.
Yes.
And he's been taking different kinds. In fact, he was mentioning the names, different, just to be high. Unfortunately, he was introduced to it by some famous people that he worked for, you know. So he said he tried to get out of it.
Wow, maybe you should type it. We can't hear. There's a question here by Anne.
He's trying.
Talking about the Kerry being violent, like the slap you gave.
Just on each domain. I was trying to say what I want to say.
We wish we can hear you. You were breaking and quenching. So type it like Anne did so that we can read it out. Anne says, talking about the Kerry being violent, like the slap you gave as example. What if the Kerry is involved in a life-threatening action, like the use of knife or gun? Are we still to maintain our cool? And prevention is better than cure. Once your Kerry goes violent, report it immediately to the guardian, parents, and then it needs incarceration in a controlled environment. Immediately. It's dangerous and fatal. And then you don't care for a psychotic case. Thank you for raising that question, Anne. Somebody who has psychosis needs psychiatric hospital, a rehabilitation center under a controlled environment. That's why when you go to some rehab, you'll find some people in chains. Not because they hated them, but because they are violent. So please don't care for a violent caree. You are endangering yourself. I've seen where a caree carried a big stool and broke the head of a carer and killed him there. People rush him. They didn't say it was mine and kill him instant. And that was the caree who was feeding him, giving him food when everybody abandoned him out of care. One who has psychotic problem, you see, they don't know what they do. They hear voices. They lose their mind. Their will is under the control of whatever spirit. No matter the incentive you are giving, don't treat somebody who is mad, except you are a psychiatrist. Even me, I don't treat mad people. When they are well, I put their behavior in shape as a behavioral therapist. I modify them. There was a case I once handled here in my therapy office. They brought the boy, a teenage boy, to me. The father and the mother brought him. So by the time I took my preliminary investigation and all of that, and made my bill known, the man, the father said, "Doctor, it's not about your bill. Just promise that my boy will be well. And then we must write an agreement. And both of us will sign in case my boy is not well." It was then I began to notice that the father himself was not well. Does he go to hospital and bring out MOU?
If the boy is not well, we pay back his money.
Until while we're just talking and still discussing, and I say, "Sir, it's better you just go with your money and go with your boy, because you don't go to hospital and you are calling a lawyer to say, 'Doctor, when you treat my son and he's not well, then I will sue you.'" So it was just shortly after that, the boy, from where he sat, the psychotic stuff just well up from him, and he hung to the neck of his father and wanted to hook him down. So when the boy did that, I said, "Okay, uncle, sorry, it's not meant for here." I referred them to behavioral center. Quick, I referred the case because that's not my domain. Don't handle what you are not packaged for. Even psychiatric doctor will run away once they change them. If they have not changed them to say you are a psychiatrist, you will register in the gate of heaven without, if you will get there, without welcome. So it could be very dangerous. Once you are handling a behavioral issue with somebody and it's going out of control, and it's not their fault. If you ever tell them afterward such behavior, they will say, "Never, God forbid. How can they do such a thing?" So please report such cases. This PCCP global model will not work here at all. Don't endanger your life because of incentive. People call me from everywhere. They say, "Doctor, do we have a place where we can keep him?" I used to turn them down. Now I have places where we can keep them so that they can maintain sync. So this is what we are saying. Generate two kinds of manifestation. What's the first one? Manufactured one that leads to what? A surrendered one. How do you know when you have generated surrendered manifestation? See the impact assessment in your client in 3 areas. 1, it will make him to take a new decision by shifting his position from consciousness to a higher level of energy. Do you get it? And then